Going to Public Works. I'll call to order the Public Works Committee meeting for Tuesday, March 5th at 7:32. We've already had a moment of silent meditation, Pledge of Allegiance. Can I get a roll call, Madam Clerk?
Roll call. Councilperson Mathes.
Present.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Here.
Councilperson Roman.
Okay. Can I get an approval of the agenda if there's any additions or deletions beforehand?
So before Mayor Cubillos left, she said that she wanted to discuss the Public Works full-time employee or employee.
I've already discussed that with the manager, and she has to speak with Irwin to look at the numbers to see what we can do. So I was actually going to bring it to the next Public Works Committee meeting.
Okay, but the mayor did want to address some issues though that she was having with that. Did she want to address that? Did she want those addressed right now at this meeting? Because before she left, this is what she said.
Oh, the problems with,
The problems with that exist within this Public Works
Yeah.
department.
she said it could be the person, and we need to look at that
I mentioned that
avenue.
it could be that, just the person who's in the role. I don't know that it's still a full-time position. If it is, I understand that. And our worker, he's diligent. It's just,
I mean, I didn't know, like, our mayor wanted it on.
Let's put it on the
discuss
agenda
it. I didn't
item.
know if you guys wanted to discuss it, or I just didn't want this to go without it being said because she's our mayor and she brought it up, so.
I didn't know it was
Well,
going to be discussed
It's,
up to
tonight.
you.
it's my committee,
Yes.
and it will be discussed at next committee
Okay.
meeting. So,
Bring it up.
with that being said, I know that I spoke with the manager earlier today with regards to removing G2,
No, sorry, G5.
G5?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, cap. And, okay. Can I get approval of the agenda with the deletion of G5?
Chair, if I may, I could email the manager for what I'm asking. That's okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure? Makes the meeting go faster.
We have a long agenda, so.
All right, so can I get approval of the agenda? It was
Approval
properly
with the change.
moved. The second?
Second with the.
Properly moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And there are no minutes. Okay, we will go into the agenda items. Didn't it skip something? It skipped the good and welfare, didn't it?
Mr. Chair, yeah, the good and welfare is not there, but Mr. Chair, also, the tracking report is not under the agenda items. I just noticed you may want to approve it.
I'm sorry, I failed to mention that. I looked at this tracking report. It's pretty extensive. Some of the stuff, I discussed it with the manager, and some of the stuff on here is actually administrative. If you guys want to go through it, we can. But if not, I wanted to sit with the manager and just go through it and let her do what she's been hired to do, and then we will deal with what we need to deal with, if that's okay.
So you'll revise it? and
Yep,
have
I want to
the
streamline
first and-
everything.
okay,
Mhm.
perfect. All right.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Nickerson, I appreciate that. And good and welfare? Hearing none, we'll go into the agenda item. G1, floodplain management ordinance review. Who would like to take the helm on that?
I can start us off. I know our
Go for
attorney
it.
has also been working on the ordinance as well. But this is a Florida floodplain management regulation in conjunction with the Florida Building Code. We have to, this is a requirement of us by the state, Department of Environment, or DEM. Sorry, I can't remember what DEM stands for at the moment. But we are required to do Division of Emergency Management. Thank you. So we're required to do this, and the Florida Building Code already has some provisions in it that relate to flooding, but this is the extra that needs to come per municipality. So they have been working with me. The Florida Division of Emergency Management has been working with me in devising our ordinance, and then they will be working with me on preparing our procedures for that. In fact, I have a meeting on Monday, March 11th, from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. to go over what the procedures will be and how El Portal can be more specific with our needs. So the adoption of this ordinance is not going to get into specifics for the village until we sit down with them and do that, but it is going to allow us to be on par with what is required by FEMA as well as the state and the county.
Now, how does this reflect with chapter 7.5 of our code?
It adds the additional requirements that if it's not already in there, then these will add that. And
Okay.
it just puts us, again, on par with that. It's a higher standard. It recaptures and regulates building exemptions from the Florida Building Code, incorporates the FEMA policies and guidelines, facilitates an interpretation and compliance that we have failed from that, chapter, or not failed, but just that they've been amplified now from the state and from the federal government.
Now, there's also a new floodplain map that I would urge everyone to look at, and if you possibly need flood insurance, I would recommend you do that as well. Committee members?
Yeah, I think the highlights, in addition to what the managers just described, it has a really good frequently asked questions section that you can go to. But I think the highlights of this is simply that the department or the division actually looks at each individual municipalities or counties' ordinances, and then they go back as a staff and tailor the recommended model ordinance to make sure that our ordinances comport with the National Flood Insurance Program and also the Florida Building Code. So they pretty much gave us a model. Now, when they sent us back the proposed ordinance, they did have pretty much little footnotes that they would want us to answer. I answered them in my first take on it, but between now and the first reading of the ordinance, at the next meeting, we're going to also have Serbia take a look at it just to make sure from a planning perspective that we're checking the right box in the ordinance.
Now, it did make mention in some parts of it that I don't know if they were going to look to see if we were enforcing that section, and if we weren't, to take it out. Do they do that, or we would look in to see if we're enforcing?
I'm not sure I understand.
On the first one is on page 6
Of which,
of the this thing is all redlined.
that's
Model
the
code.
Oh, you're looking at the model one. Yeah, oh, you mean penalties for violation? What section?
It just states that this is reflected in the cumulative substantive improvement provision of your existing regulation. Then it goes on to say it's in line with what you have in your code, but if you're enforcing it, we can keep it in. If you're not enforcing it, we can take it out. So,
Well, I can tell you this, Councilperson Mathis, when we have the meeting on March 11th, that will be specific to El Portal. Then
Okay.
I'll find that out. when I
Okay.
take that one.
all right, thank you. Vice Mayor Nickerson? Councilperson Roman?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Not at this time.
So where are we at as far as, this is just setting us up for the soon-to-come reading of the first reading? Okay. Go to G2, Craig A. Smith and Associates Contract Addendum.
Yes. If I may?
Yes.
Okay.
Floor is yours.
As you all may remember, a few months ago, we were way out of compliance with our NPDES monitoring plans and annual reports. NPDES is National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System. This would be something a public works person would probably spearhead for our municipality, but we don't have that person. So we do have consultants who've been working with us, and that was Craig A. Smith. Craig A. Smith came in and had to do all of the annual reports, and they did that at the sum of $17,000 last fiscal year. We still have to do these reports annually, so we are now amending the contract with Craig A. Smith to incorporate that and the maintenance of the NPDES requirements as well, with their subcontractor, this gentleman, Mr. Gambino. So this is why we need to push forward on this amendment, so that we can remain in compliance and do our reporting appropriately.
Chair, Mayor,
Mhm.
so is the cost 17 each time?
No, that was just a fee to get us caught up. Now we have
Okay.
to do an annual and.
Do you know what the annual
Let me
fees are?
see here, I'm sorry. Because we're monitoring requirements, but let me see what the new contract will cost us here. Give me 1 second, first.
You're my brother. Start with this.
It will be, sorry, looking at my contract, page 4, from Craig A. Smith, and he outlines.
Page 4?
Page 4. Well, throughout the amendment, you'll see that certain items have been completed already,
Mhm.
that were not to exceed $7,000, you've already been completed. Only not to exceed $10,000, that's already done, and the future annual reporting will be $4,000. Yes.
And is this something that we would want to send for RFP in the future, or?
We can do that. We probably should do, we should be doing RFPs regularly anyway with our engineering firms. I would have to look at our contract with Craig A. Smith to see if they're up for renewal. This will just amend the one that we have for now, but in the future, when we are doing RFPs, we should include this service as well.
Vice Mayor Nicholson?
I'm good, thank you, Chair.
G3, Panoni contract review. Attorney Powell?
Okay, we have two items. The first would be addendum number 1 to supplemental agreement to master agreement, sanitary sewer systems, phase 1 design. Stephen Elias is here, so if I could have you, I guess, compliment anything I may say. We went back and looked at the existing master agreement with the eye of trying to do two things: memorialize the new proposed agreement with Panoni to complete the project for the agreed upon price of $45,000, which is in here. In addition, we wanted to make sure, as was discussed at our previous committee meetings, that the contractor would, on a monthly basis, keep us apprised of where we are in terms of our funding on the project, which is built into here, it also built into the agreement. So if you look under 5, you'll see, section 5, you'll see that Panoni will make monthly statements to the village for services rendered and for expenses. And that's pretty much what we agreed to with that. There was a question that was raised by our consultant, Robert, which Stephen may have to clarify. In looking at excluded services, there was a question raised as to whether or not the exclusion built in here concerning a legal description revision, which may be required if the actual location of the pump station in location 7 has to shift, and would that be covered under what we're doing? Mr. Elias? Excuse me, you can clarify.
So basically, you're saying that if
Like,
location 7 needs to move, are they gonna charge us?
No, if it moves, there will be a charge. What the concern, what we're trying to clarify, which you may have to workshop between now and the next our commission meeting, is right now Pannoni has identified location 7 by a legal description that's, was prepared in the fall of 2018. Now, what the proposed agreement is articulating is if for some reason the location of the pump station changes within that location, there may, or there would be a requirement to change the legal description again.
Yeah, excuse me, Mr. Powell. I guess the word is orientation.
Oriented, okay.
Sorry, because it's not really, we're not saying the location.
Right.
I'm just, originally to give you a little bit of background, when we originally were thinking of putting the pump station on location 7, which was location 1, it was gonna go, in our mind, and we had talked about it, it was gonna go 65 feet up, 65 feet north and south, 45 feet east and west, okay? When Pannoni designed it, they designed it going east and west 65 feet, and then 45 feet north and south. All we're saying is, if for any reason, either Pannoni, the school, or because because the original reason before that is so if we did the Nature Trail Park, we would have the most amount of space. So 65 feet up, it would go. Quite frankly, if we still get 65 feet up and the pump station is only 45 feet, that would kind of get the school system to say, well, why are we gonna have this little notch in there and then go up higher, okay? So the only question is, if for some reason the orientation of the pump station changes. So instead of going, right now it's east and west, it goes north and south, which is just a matter of, moving some of the pieces. That's all it was. I mean, there's no plan to, but it would be ideal actually if it went north and south, because then we'd have more space in order to do the Nature Trail Park. That was the only thing.
Okay, I'm really not, I mean, I know it's important, I get it. I'm worried about the numbers, so where location and all that, I don't care, I'm talking about numbers. I wanna know
Well, that's,
what this is gonna cost us.
well, the number is $45,000. That's the agreed upon compromise.
That's signed, sealed, delivered,
Correct.
done.
Signed, sealed, and delivered and done, with the caveat that the location 7 doesn't change.
And if location 7 happens to change,
Then we're back to square one, figuring out, getting another estimate as to what's it gonna cost for location 8, 9, or 10.
okay.
How likely is it, and is that what you just said, of location 7 changing? I'm sorry, Terry.
No, we're all,
It's not that it's particularly likely, and be clear, it's not a change in the location, it's a change in the orientation of the pump station,
Okay.
and that's all.
So the orientation of the pump station, it's not as it was supposed to be, right? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, originally we wanted it north and south so that we would take the most amount of land so that then it would jibe with the Nature Trail Park.
Okay.
That's all.
Right, so why didn't that happen?
I believe at the time, because when we had the meeting with the school principal and he said, no, this location won't work, you have to do the southwest location, which is location 7. Steve Elias wasn't there, it was Jeff McKinney was there, and he just went ahead and he designed it, and we talked about it, but I said, all right, let's not bring it up. But if now we're gonna agree to this amount, then I think if for some reason it goes, instead of east and west, it goes north and south, it's not really a change in location. Just don't think that it should be, charged more.
Okay,
For
so
it.
you're putting in that we should not be charged more if we're changing.
The orientation.
Orientation.
Right, that's all. Yeah,
Okay, and that's going to go into the agreement.
that's what we would say, yeah. That and the only other thing leading to Councilman Mathes's issue of how much it will cost is that in the sections that it says that Pannoni will provide monthly expenses, reimbursable expenses. Now, they have reimbursable expenses in their contract. They have never asked us to reimburse them for expenses. so that we just said that in the reimbursable expenses clause, that it say that any reimbursable expenses be pre-approved. Okay, so the village doesn't get any surprises. Those are the only things, so that your amount, you know exactly what your amount is. That's all.
Thank you.
What would be reimbursable expenses?
I forget exactly, but it's defined in our master agreement.
Is that what, I'm sorry?
It's defined in our master agreement. There's a schedule of, I think, sub-consulted services, for example, things that we don't do. If we have to do something, or potentially reproduction. I'm not positive. You have to go back and look.
Yeah, reproduction, meetings, for example, like they have in there, if they went to any public meetings, it would be extra. There might be other meetings that they may say, well, this is technically a public, all it's asking for is that he tells us if there's gonna be something in addition to what we're agreed on, let us know beforehand so the village can make a decision. That's all.
Mr.
I want to be clear about this when it comes to the money. I don't want to give any more money to this project until this is done. It's a headache. So if the committee's gonna commit to this and send it to the council, the dollar ends at 45,000, if that's what we agree to. Vice Mayor.
Mr. Chair, can I have Mr. Ronald back up, please, for a second? Okay, so right now, we're talking about location 7?
7.
Okay, we're just changing the direction.
No, we're not changing anything. All we're saying is that in the agreement, if it does change the orientation in location 7, that it's just a matter of moving the pieces and the connection, okay, instead of it might still be in the same location, it's just the other components, which is the electrical, the well, and all those things, might be in a different spot, like 10 feet away.
So this is still in the southwest corner?
Yeah, it would still be in the southwest corner, that's all.
It goes from here
Yeah.
to there.
Right.
And is there anything from the school board that we anticipate that we would have any issues with the changing of orientation? So what I'm asking is this, because Councilperson Roman asked a great question, and Councilperson Matthews, I forgot which one asked, but it was your answer of, no, it was Councilperson, it was the chair, Chair Mathis. He said that if we have to move to a different location, then it would just be like, it would be more cost because it would be back to the drawing board.
Correct.
So what if now, because of the orientation, we're in location 7, but the school is like, we don't want it facing that way because it's taking up property that we don't want, and therefore then we're in like a lot of that.
So you mean we keep it the same way it is? Because the same way it is, it would take the most amount, the way it is now, it's east and west.
Yeah.
So it only takes 45 feet of their property going north and south, right?
Okay,
Okay? If we changed it, it would take 65, an additional 20 feet.
okay.
So, I mean, they might not change, but knowing the school board, you know, they may tomorrow, speaking to the senator, they decide, oh yeah, we're going to give you Nature Trail Park 2, and we're going to go up to 70 feet. So then we would be stuck with a little section that's only 45 feet up, and then the park that went up to 70 feet, and you'd have a notch there that just wouldn't make sense. So that's all.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, so, all right.
Right, but to be clear, and I think the chair is making it abundantly clear his feelings, you know, the whole intent of this addendum is to nail down what the out-of-pocket total amount for the village is going to be, providing that location 7 does not change.
So we're going from 152 to 45,
Mr. Chair.
correct?
No, it was 85. It was 85.
From 85? Oh.
Chair.
From 85 to
Um,
45.
Can I just say, going forward, is there any way that we can address, or has this been addressed? I'm sure it has in a certain way, that going forward, if things reach a level to where we're starting to go over pavement, or anything starts to happen, that we are communicated with.
And that's in here.
Okay,
Yeah, that's-
okay, make
that
sure
was
that's.
one of- Yeah, that's one of the other things that Stephen and I discussed. If you look at the underpayment to engineer, the Pinoni will submit monthly statements and will also keep the village apprised of where we are with the funds.
Okay, yes, but because in the original contract, it was stated that if they reach a certain level, like they come back to the council, or they come back to
Yeah,
the
but
administration.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
am
the
I
original
correct?
didn't have that. The original was basically considered a quote-unquote flat fee agreement. And so there, in the original agreement, there was not built in a monthly summary requirement.
Yeah, no, there wasn't built in a monthly summary requirement, but there was language in the original contract that said, Mr. Elias, if you remember this, there was language that was stated about once they reach a certain level of money, then they would come back to the village. It was in the original
Right,
contract.
right, but that's-
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is the reason why we're in this position is because
They didn't do that.
that wasn't followed. So just because the language is in there, we have to make sure that it's followed this time. Like the language, you see what I'm saying? It was written down before.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, I think you're correct, but it's a timeline. Yeah, it's the timeline. In the original agreement, there wasn't a monthly
I got you.
requirement, so that notification, the earliest we would have gotten that information from the contractor was pretty much when all the funds were exhausted. And, you know, I guess this is where the butting of heads came into, that once they got to that stage and the funds were exhausted, they continued to incur costs, which is why we're here now trying to reconcile the additional costs that they've alleged that, you know, that they've spent, and how can we get to the end. But I would submit to you that if there was at least a monthly reporting and monthly accounting of where we were with the funds, at least the village would have had, you know, notice of where we were in terms of, you know, in terms of the monies that were allocated to the project. We wouldn't have gotten it at the end, and we would have at least been able to be on notice that, okay, they're providing additional services outside of the ceiling of the funds that was allocated for the project.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I just wanted to make that explicit, that needs to be really like looked after this time. And I think from the chair, that we'll have
You
no
know,
problem with that.
It's a practical matter.
And at
if
the
I may-
same time, itemized means itemized. I want to know every detail, what's going on.
Okay. Mayor?
As a,
Am I scaring you?
oh, go ahead.
Practical? Go ahead.
Yes, as a practical matter, we're stuck at 45. So we're at 45. So.
I still want an
Right, I
itemized
understand, yeah.
detail.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of itemized, we were supposed to get an itemized detail of everything that went above and beyond our original contract. Did we ever get that?
The original agreement did not require
Correct,
an
but,
itemization.
no,
They
but we
gave us-
And
required,
they
They
provided,
provided us with.
what they provided us with
Uh-huh.
was I guess the best way to describe it, excuse me, were timesheets and descriptions of what the work that was done. But to the level I think that you would have expected, that's not what we received. So we didn't see, you didn't see like .10 draft X, .20 draft Y. It was more general in nature.
so it's what we received originally that we were previewed to, and then we asked to receive an itemized, and that itemized never came in. Is that what I'm hearing?
Right, we didn't get an itemization.
Okay.
We provided a every timesheet, every hour that was billed, we provided, I think it was like about 20 pages of timesheet
It
detail.
wasn't as specific and
and then a breakdown of all the tasks.
Because I think that that's what makes us feel a little uncomfortable. And that's why if this has dragged out so long, because we have not, in my opinion, the level of trust has been broken. And so we all agreed in meetings that we wanted to see that before we paid up the $45,000. So I'm a little bit dumbfounded as to why we haven't received it. Yeah.
Yes, if I could just clarify something. We did receive a detail, as Mr. Elias said. We received a detail with their timesheets, okay? The problem or the issue that we had on our side trying to reconcile everything is that it might say, you know, Steve Elias from March 1st through March 3rd, 4 hours engineering, okay? Jeff McKinney from February 1st through the 5th, 3 hours design, okay? So it doesn't say how many hours on what particular day, and it doesn't say engineering for what, design for what. Were you designing location 1? Were you designing location 7? It didn't go to that specificity. So that's why we felt, and our the CAP engineer felt, that it wasn't at the level of detail that we would have liked to make perfect sense of it. So it was that they provided it, it just wasn't at our kind of specificity that we would have liked.
So moving forward, what are we going to receive?
Itemized
And is it gonna be?
itemized.
Right, but how do you have a format that you can provide us moving forward?
We can provide you we can provide them and you a format that maybe we can live with. Whether they can do it or not, I don't know. I mean, they're a big company, they have certain ways of doing things.
Steve, is
so-
that something that you can commit to moving forward?
We can try to do our best. We can take a look at it. I mean, typically, we tell you what we're gonna do in our contract, and we do it. And we do it as a % complete, and when it's done, we turn in the plans and it's done. That's the, you know, I work for probably 30 different cities across the state. That's the typical approach. But if there's something more detailed, I mean, if you got examples from your other consultant or whatever, we can try to replicate, you know, try to comply with whatever the city's asking for.
Okay.
We're happy to try to do that.
So who is going to be providing the monthly reporting and the accounting to us?
We can provide continued detail with notes. I mean, it says right here, we're going to design, you know, the other issue on this is too, that, just to kind of go back, I mean, we wrote this contract and negotiated this in good faith, and we've, you know, discounted this $40,000, so we're eating that. So, you know, we're taking a good faith effort here in doing that. That was done with the orientation of the pump station in accordance with the Dade County standards. We met with them in the field, and they have a standard that it's oriented a certain way, because they have to have a driveway, they have to have a, you know, in case the pumps go bad, they have to get a big crane in there. And when we ran by them scenarios in the draft stage, you know, back in July, when we were discussing station number 7, we ran those scenarios by them, and to do that, you'll have to construct a special driveway. You basically have to go meet with every one of their operations person and get their permission, multiple levels, to reorientate their standard pump station. You know, there's electrical codes with clearances, you know, between the wet well and the control panel and all these things that have to be custom done. They don't like doing that. So it will take additional work to do a non-standard Miami-Dade pumping station. What we've got priced in here, and we've already completed a lot of the work, is to do it in compliance with the county code. If we want to deviate from that, it may be advantageous for the trail, but that will be a deviation from the county. They have to be the ones to accept this.
That's why I was asking what I was asking.
Can you answer? Yeah, please clarify.
You know, he is the expert, but I tend to disagree on that changing the orientation makes the pump station non-standard, okay? Right now, it's just oriented east and west. If we were to change it north and south, which was originally going back January of 2018, which we had talked about for the park, that's not a change of the components, it's just a change of the orientation. So I'm not really sure why Steve is saying that it's non-standard, because the size is still the same, it's still 45 by 65, the components are the same. You just have to have the driveway in a different area, but a lot of pump stations are oriented where you go in from the side and not from the bottom. It just doesn't, I don't understand that part.
Okay, again, my whole thing is, I don't care about it moving this way or that way. I'm concerned about the dollar.
Right, but what happens is that if we don't discuss it now and we don't
No,
agree to it.
because what's gonna
then-
happen is when they submit something to us and it's not what it's supposed to be, it will go back to them. And there's no more money going out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and that's why I brought it up, and I think part of the problem is that, I mean, we could do whatever tonight. We need for sure information on, because I worked for Miami-Dade County for so long, so I know how it is. So we need for sure information on this thing with the orientation, because as Mr. Elias was saying, Miami-Dade County is real strict about where they put their driveways, how they want their things set up. So if our orientation to save what we want from our nature trail is gonna mess with Miami-Dade County and the way they set up their schools, it's gonna be an issue. And that's why I was bringing it up, because what's gonna end up happening is, what I hope doesn't end up happening is, we're paying out the $45,000 to continue this to be moving on. But yet we wanna do whatever we wanna do with the nature trail, or else our residents are gonna go, up, what I'm saying, they're gonna get upset with us. So then, we're gonna be stuck there, and then in order to change it around, we're gonna be here 6 to 8 months from now saying that, okay, well, Miami-Dade County won't give us approval for this, they won't give us approval for this. And then he's gonna come back and say, well, okay, well, even if we get approval to change this stuff around, it's gonna be an extra this.
And not to mention that according to the meeting that our last 2 months ago we had, and the meeting before that, the $45,000 is supposed to be shovel ready.
Right, but that's what this is about. No more money. At $45,000, it needs to be signed, sealed, delivered, and done.
Right, shovel ready.
Right.
So shovel ready means that no additional money is coming out of our pockets in order to have this. Is that, Steve, can you confirm that is?
Yes, that's our intent. That's our commitment to get this shovel ready, which means.
With $45,000.
With $45,000.
So this is negotiated, $45,000
There was
gets the shovel ready.
85, the true cost is up
Yeah,
here.
$45,000
We knocked it
gets
down
the
to
shovel
45
ready.
to get it shovel ready by DEP's definition, which is the plans, the specifications submitted to them with the permits. So that's our intent. And we did that, we negotiated this, we submitted an easement, I forget when it was it saying here, July, or whatever the date is in here. We submitted that orientation, and we were told to go to the county and negotiate that and see if they would approve that, and that's what we did. So we started with that design, and that's what we've partially completed. We will finish it and get it shovel ready, but it's within that orientation. We've already started down that road. If that has to change, that would be news to us at this point. That would not be fair to us, I wouldn't think, to change that. And it sounds like
Okay, but
Mr. Omar is familiar with Dade County.
what I understood from Robert is that we wanted it to be the east-west, right? Or
North-south.
North-south. And it was done east-west, which is not how we wanted it. So why wasn't it done the way we wanted it? And then why would we have to pay for it?
We went-
If
yeah.
then we go back to do it the way we wanted it originally.
That request was made in several emails going back and forth between us and the village back over the summer. We were asked to look at orienting it a different way and what it would take. And we proposed.
You were asked?
We were, right here.
Okay.
Project manager. So we went through and spent the energy, we drew up the drawings, and we showed how it would have to encroach into the nature trail. You'd have to put a driveway in the nature trail to be able to swing around, to be able to get into for the standard approach into that pumping station. So we did all that. That's part of these extra costs here to go through that analysis and those drawings that we prepared. So we submitted those, and when we ran it by Dade County, they did not want that. And then we communicated that back to the village, and we proceeded with the normal design to comply with their standard.
Please clarify.
This is the first I hear that they had oriented one way and they changed. I would say this is a little sticking point. We can talk to CAP about it, see if they think it's going to take a lot to change from east to west to north to south. I mean, and Commissioner, in your respect.
What I'm hearing now is that this is not negotiated.
Well, it is. That's just a very fine detail so that you don't have any surprises if something does change. Okay?
Well, see,
I think between
No.
now and the meeting.
And if I
No,
may,
what I'm saying,
Steve.
what I'm hearing is it's not negotiated because he's saying that if it goes another way, it's gonna cost us.
Okay, give,
That is what he's saying, yes.
Yeah, that is
That's not what we want.
right.
No, we don't.
Chair, if I may. Steve, this is the frustration we have with you guys. And this has been a frustration that we've had for a very long time. It's every single time that you come to in front of us, something changes. And that is extremely frustrating. Something changes, you guys are not communicating well enough with our staff. And if it's our staff that is not communicating well enough, then you need to tell me that. You need to tell this committee that. Because this has been going on for way too long, and I'm sorry that I'm a little bit, passionate about this, but this is a very expensive project. This is something that has been dragging on for a very long time. We were slapped with a bill of $85,000 that we had, that because you guys did not follow your contract. So you did not follow your contract with the village, so now you gave us a bill of $85,000. We're now negotiating this, and yet we find out something new. So every time that we're trying to get clarification, because we don't want surprises, something new comes up, and it's typically from your side. So please explain.
So, since last summer and over the last several months, we've negotiated with staff and I think we've communicated well and in good faith. We came here tonight and we've prepared a proposal. We've given you a price, a not to exceed price for what the discussion has been up to about 10 minutes ago, which is the pump station is at that location in accordance with the easement legal description that we were instructed to prepare back in July for that location after evaluating driveway alternatives. Now tonight, 10 minutes ago, we just learned that there might be, that I can't control this. We've come here in good faith with the layout and everything that we knew coming into tonight's meeting, that there might be a change with the school board. But we didn't come here prepared tonight to give you a cost on a maybe for changing the orientation of that school board. If I would have known that, we could have put a price to that. But that's the first I've heard of that tonight, that the location may change the orientation in a different manner than we prepared that legal description, I can't remember, was it July or August? Whatever the month was, it was 6 months ago at least.
So
That's what we've been talking about for 6 months.
Let me get something clear. Let me back up. So you're saying tonight was the first time you've heard that the orientation
Might
might
change. That's the first I've heard that.
Okay.
So I can't prepare,
It's not saying that it's might change. Don't misunderstand. All I was saying and looking at this contract and trying to protect you is that if it does change the orientation, not the location, but the orientation,
We shouldn't pay for it.
we shouldn't pay extra. That's all.
Right.
That's-
Okay, and that's what we're trying to clarify here, because.
All right. We don't even have the easement yet, so.
Right.
Okay, if I may, Chair. May I?
I'm sorry?
Or do you want to?
Go ahead.
I was just going to suggest perhaps we do no work until we get an easement.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We don't even have the easement yet.
It sounds like and also determining the orientation of the pump station. Because, is that what I'm hearing?
That's based on the easement.
And that comes from the legal description. So until we get that.
Okay, so I'll motion that there is no work to be done by Pannoni on this project until we have an easement.
I'll second it. I'm sorry?
That's all I was saying.
All in favor?
You want to do roll call?
Roll call.
Is this going to go to full council, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So roll call to take it to full council.
Yeah, you have to take it to full council. We can't decide on you guys.
Mhm.
Okay. Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Councilperson Roman,
Yes.
Chair
Yes.
Mathis. Okay, so it's going to full council.
And that also, does that also include the second?
No, the second is just a clarification.
Okay.
That one has the same language to provide updates, monthly updates and statements.
Okay.
That's in the 7th paragraph, 7.5. Pannoni will submit monthly statements to the village for services rendered. So that addendum can go forward. That's under the other agreement.
Okay. I have a headache. Okay. So we can go forward with this one?
Yeah, for the stormwater, yes.
Okay. It's all yours.
Excuse me?
It's all yours. But do we just need to take a vote on it, or?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, are we moving
This is
to
on-
G4 or are we still?
No, we're still on,
We're still
we're still on.
G3, we're
G3.
just doing stormwater, correct?
Yeah, the stormwater. Anyone has any questions on it?
We're still on G3?
3, yeah, we're.
Yeah, but we're on the second item.
Right,
of
this is
G3.
just, yeah, this is an addendum to the stormwater agreement to provide for the monthly statements and accounting, so that the village will know where we're at with the expenditures.
Oh,
This is part of Pannoni's contract?
Yes, this is for
This
the,
is for the
the
storm.
addendum to the contract.
The addendum to-
that
okay,
for the
provides-
stormwater.
Right,
that
right,
Right, yeah, we went in and put the
I
same
got you, I got you.
reporting
Same
requirements
with the
above.
same language.
I got you. Okay.
So we need to motion
Yes,
to
we
get
do.
that passed
Yes.
to the.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. So,
I'll second the motion.
Probably in the second, the roll call?
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Councilperson Roman,
yes.
Chair Mathis.
Yes. Okay. All right, go to G4, septic to sewer project updates. Well, I have spoken with Senator Pizzo, and I actually spoke to Senator Pizzo's office and Commissioner Edmondson's office, trying to seek some special funding for a side septic to sewer project. And hopefully I can get some monies and updates real soon with regards to that, so we don't lose something that's gonna be very beneficial to the village as far as commercial property. Robert, you wanna give us an update?
Just, just that we have been reaching out to, I've been reaching out to Jamie Torrance, who the village manager had a call with Senator Pizzo a while back. He's the operations, director at Miami-Dade County Public Schools. I haven't gotten a call back from him. We've been trying for about 3 weeks now. Just letting you know where it's, because he said that he would give us the easement. He said to the village manager, but we haven't. Without hearing from him, we can't get anything anywhere else. The manager has reached out to the principal and see if there's any updates. He said no, there's no updates, and so right now we're just waiting on Mr. Torrance to hopefully give us the easement.
Well, I got a text from Pizzo earlier today saying everything's trucking along, so
Well, hopefully it'll truck 45 days before May 8th, right? When is the May?
May, after your FDP.
The May FDP hearing?
We won't be ready for
We won't be ready, okay. Yeah, so it would be the August one, so we have time. So it would be in June, we have to have everything in place for the, with the easement and everything.
The orientation.
And yes, obviously, they'll let us know about that. Yeah.
Good save.
Thank you.
Two things.
Any questions from committee members?
So, okay, so whatever deadline we were trying to make for March, that's gone. Now May is gone, and now or August is the next deadline for this?
Yes, but that's actually a good thing because August is the beginning of the fiscal year. The fiscal year starts in July for the state, so there'll be more money, hopefully, that we can expect. Right now, all these hearings now, the money keeps getting pulled away.
Okay. Okay, so August is our next, okay. All right.
Okay, G6, disaster management RFP results and disaster removal RFP results.
Thank you.
Madam Manager?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson Mathis. I just want to give you all an update. I put out an RFP for disaster management and another one for debris removal in preparation for the upcoming hurricane season so that we could have contracts in place and contractors in place so that we won't be in the situation we were in the past where we had to just do a mutual aid agreement. Nothing's wrong with that, just that we need our own contract. So I got all of the proposals in on last Thursday, February 28th, and I sat in this conference room yesterday all afternoon with Robert Ruano and Orlando Rubio with Craig A. Smith and Associates to review those proposals, and we have cut it down to 2, but we are now working with the CFO to determine pricing, the best pricing, also the most realistic pricing. So I will be announcing the winning contractors to the council and giving you all that recommendation as soon as that determination is made. For the disaster management RFP, we only received one proposal, which is an automatic for that one person. And that was our current disaster management company, which is DP&O. So we will be going DP&O for our disaster management and monitoring, and I will alert you all as soon as we have decided with the recommendation for the debris removal services.
Chairman. So, great, thank you so much for these two important RFPs. Being that we only received one for disaster management, and it's our current, and we've had all of the questions and transparency, which are unfortunate. But how can we overcome any future questions on transparency is there a way that we can post what our RFP process was, or how do we, I'm just trying to mitigate any future next door posts.
Well, I also asked the managers, should we put it back out? But, it's a process in itself. But I mean,
And it's costly. It's a costly process.
But the thing is that, you know what? Everything that we've done has been transparent, it's out in the open, and I have nothing to hide. So if this company is the only company that is out there or willing to pay attention to our RFP, hey, it's out there for people to put in their bids. If they want to, they want it.
And might I add, we've had nothing but good things happen with them. Of course, we've had, the constant public records requests and the accusations and the next door posts, but all of that is unfounded. I mean, they've been nothing but fantastic the entire time, and I think, and they've worked with the village before us. They worked on another hurricane.
And things are coming in, so.
Yes, I think they've done great work. I am happy to have them again, but I was, I wanted to open it up to see who else was out there and if we could, beat their prices or just something different. But unfortunately, we just didn't get that. And it was open for 2.5 weeks, so. And we advertised and we did the proper process. Also, the whole process is also enumerated in the RFP as well, so.
No, everything's good.
Okay, well, thank you. I just thought it'd be important to say it on the record. So people see how transparent we are.
Okay. That is the last agenda item. Good and welfare? Anyone? None? Can I get a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion to adjourn.
Been properly moved and second. We are adjourned at 8:28.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.